Mika, thanks, man. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah.
What I want us to talk about is what young Africans can contribute to Africa's development. I mean, we talked a few months ago. And you know, I was so impressed about the work you're doing. I mean, I'm impressed whenever I talk to young Africans. But the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is that we are a continent of 1.2 growing billion of people.
Yeah.
Okay. So people like yourself, young Africans like yourself, are not many. Okay. And we need many, many, many of you. Okay. If for us to be able to achieve big goals that we want. Okay. Now I talk to people and I realize that many of them do not actually know where they can contribute. It's unfortunate that within a century, everybody, at least the majority of our people, especially those who go to universities, come out and they are looking for jobs. They don't come out ready to start something. They all come out looking for jobs. And I think that our continent need people who be educated, come out ready to run. Okay. Now the ones that are doing their own thing mostly are those who don't go to universities. Okay. And see, yes, we need people who are educated, maybe not always university, okay, but some level of education, some skill-based education, okay, to help them to do their own thing. Okay. So today I just want us to talk about those things that we can focus on that may be able to help us expand our reach and help us to do more things in a short space of time. Okay. So for me, I know that so many things, but I've written three things that I think will help us to start running. Now, for me, I want young Africans, okay, people from the age of David is here. That's nice. Yeah, David, I don't know what's going on. He's tried to log in and he's bounced out.
Yeah. Well, I think for us, we can just continue.
Yeah.
To
again.
Save time, and whenever he comes, he can just
No, he's trying to come back in. Let's see. Okay.
Can you see?
Yes, I can see you now. Okay.
I really apologize for just coming in. Hello, Mike. Mika. Did I say that? Did I pronounce
Mika.
Mika.
So see,
right.
David, I'm happy you're here. So I see. I understand that you guys are busy people. Okay.
No, not at all. Not that. I just had a meeting that ran over. It was
Okay.
not
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Yeah. So
I'm
you're
so sorry.
busy.
No. We all
Easy
are.
guy.
We all have things. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But so
Okay.
good to
So
be here.
yeah. Good. So let's do this.
Okay.
Please, I want you guys to introduce yourself to my audience so that they will know who they are talking to. So Mika, start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Mika Lucas Chavala, and I'm the founder of Swahili Nation One Africa Foundation, the organization that is focusing on uniting our people. We have one policy, we say one African, our generation. So everything we do, our projects, our plans, and everything we dedicate to that cause to unite our people from the bottom up. That's what we focus on. And we believe that we'll achieve one African, our generation. Yeah, it's good to be here. Thank you, my brother, for inviting me. The pleasure.
So David.
Yes.
Your turn.
Wow. Mika, that was a powerful introduction. And I look forward to learning more about your work. But my name is David Ownmi, and so good to be here again.
Again, yeah.
Yeah, again. Yeah. And I'm actually the founder of Salt House, the Africa's Institute for Inclusive Governance and Sustainable Development, and also the founder of King, a circular economy startup in the UK. My work revolves around, the circular economy, inclusive development, coming up with new inclusive opportunities, particularly in the green economy. And yeah, I look forward to sharing my journey and also my perspective.
Good. So thank you guys. So I was telling Mika the reason why I wanted this discussion, okay, is that we are a continent of over 1.2 billion people, okay, and like we have talked, all of us have talked at different times that the majority of our population are young people like you.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, with the kind of population we have, we need you guys to take over. Okay. At least I do. I do. I want you guys to take over. Okay. And for that to happen, you guys need to be running different things, everything in different sectors of the society, the economy, the politics, the whatever. Okay. Now, unfortunately, there are very few of you guys doing the kind of things you do and Mika, right?
Mm-hmm.
And talking to many young people, I realized that many of them do not actually know what they can do. Okay. Most of young people like you who go to university come out and start looking for jobs. So most educated youths are job seekers, not job providers. Okay. And we need a lot of leadership, with people with initiative, right? And job providers, right? So what I want us to talk about today is what are the things that young people need to engage in, okay, that will allow us to take that leap, for you to take the leap of leadership.
I think I'll pass the mic over to Mika.
So let me just I've written down 5 things that I think you guys need to think about. Okay, engaging in personal development. That's not about going to school. Okay, but after the school, to continue developing yourself. Okay, that's one. Now, leadership, it starts with personal and the community and political. Okay, and I think I also say that the kind of education we need to focus on, of course, STEM. Okay, science, technology, entrepreneurship, and is it entrepreneurship and maths? Okay, and then for me, I think history, philosophy, and economics are so important to see, because I've talked to a lot of people and we lack knowledge of these subjects. Okay, and then yes, entrepreneurship, and this one is something that may be controversial to you guys. I say with young people, young Africans need to reject identity politics. See, for me, I think this is one of the biggest issues that is holding Africa back. Okay, identity politics, tribalism. Okay, and we need to reject victimhood. That, oh, these people did this to my people to 100 years ago, 200 years ago, and we continue holding the grudge. Those things will destroy us. I mean, we have so many conflicts going on in Africa, and most of this kind of conflict hinge on identity politics. So, guys, let's go.
Yeah. All right, David, I'll love that honor. Appreciate for choosing me. I think first thing that for me I'll talk about the change of, not really the change. I want to use the word transformation. The transformation of our mindset, the mindset of young African or youth like me. Yeah, I think the legacy of Africa, it has both sides, just like any legacy, like positive and negative. And for this, I'm going to talk about negative because in Africa for so long, we have this tendency or belief to believe that leaders are meant to be old people. And that's what is going on even today. Most of people who are leading us are elders. And back in the days, young people like me were not even allowed to run for the office constitutionally. Like, if you look at our constitution, for example, here in Tanzania, you can only be president when you're from 45 years of age, which, you know, it's a decent age to be actually the leader of the country. But I think, you know, even if you're 35, you can still be a president and do something pretty good. Right now, I see in the United States, this guy from India, Vivek, he's only 39 years of age and he's running for president, which he's a brilliant guy. But anyways, so I think this legacy, it affected us consciously and unconsciously, Africans, and we believe that in order to become a leader or to be a leader, you need to be old. You need to be 60, 70, and that's what we see in our leadership. So in that sense, most of us, we don't really even think about leading, for example, a country when we're at this age. We think about doing our own stuff for now, and then maybe later on, when I retire, when I reach like 60, then I'll run for the office, which is really, for right now, I see a positive side of that, because right now I see things are changing. I see a lot of young people are coming up, right? But still the society is not really embracing the young generation for that. Even if you see like you have like 5 different runners for the office and one of them is young, you see even the society is not really paying attention to this guy. They're just thinking about maybe this guy, he has to be like someone there, maybe a member of a parliament for some time, before, he runs the office. So that mindset, it really has to change. It really need to change. And I think, how can we change that mindset? We come back to the point that my brother, you were mentioning earlier, that most of us even thinking about, okay, I want to be employed before doing my own work. I think if we change that, if us as a young people, we start thinking about, we start innovating, we start coming with our own plans, own ideas, own organization. Because I came to realize that I don't really need to be a president to change my country. I can actually change my country with my organization that I'm doing right now. I can do the work that my government is doing just by doing that. And I think this is what is going to change the mindset of our society, and believing
very good. That point, very good. Mika, let's hear from David on this on this subject.
All right.
Oh, I was enjoying what he was saying. I was hoping you were not going to.
Oh, okay. But let's hear you. What do you think?
So, first of all, the first thing I'm going to talk about is you made mention of a few really important issues: personal development, leadership, education. That establishing that disparity between schooling and education, which is really important in Africa's development. But I think I would like to start from the bottom up, talking about identity politics. So the work that we do at Salt House is, we understand that in Africa we've got over 3,000 ethnic groups and over 2,100 languages. And so if you're talking about identity politics, like Africa is the only most diverse continent in the world, and that's and yeah, it's a reflection of why the identity politics is. But I think the best way to address identity politics, I've always believed that discrimination in itself is an economic problem and not a social problem.
I agree.
Because it's usually in a space of scarcity. Like personally, I'm from Nigeria, although I reside in the UK, but I'm Nigerian. I've got a green passport. Back in my home country, we recently had a presidential election, and lo and behold, it was appalling to see that even educated people could take sides with ethnicity rather than values, and take sides with build religious or ethnic affiliations rather than understanding and those ideologies, keying to those ideologies that would create equal opportunities for everyone moving forward, and it happens. But why is that the case? It's simply because of scarcity, and it's an economic problem. And if you're going to have to address issues around, I love, talking about identity politics, you cannot, make a few paragraphs, write a few paragraphs without highlighting. Without highlighting Rwanda's story. So we know what happened post genocide in 1994, and the first thing that Paul Kagame did was to detribalize, the nation, and push for nationalism. And so you're no longer Uti or Tutsi. You are now Nigerian, and that is all that matters. Sorry, I'm still at the office, so my colleague, and that's all that matters. And I think one way that that has worked is because in Rwanda is because at the same time, simultaneously, the government has played a huge role in advancing human capital development, investing in science and technology, in STEM, um, breaking the educational curriculum, or the educational curricula. So the way it is in Rwanda, I'm sure as you noticed, you don't necessarily have to go through the formal mode of education to have a good job or be an entrepreneur. That's not the case anymore. So just to bring all I've said into context, I believe that if we're able to address, these identity politics and all of these disparities or discriminations that happen based on tribal affiliations, religious affiliation, or ethnic affiliations, whatever the case may be, that way we would be able to solve other problems. And for us to solve that problem, we need to find a way to advance our economic growth. The advantage that we've got in Africa is that we have others to learn from. And when I say we have others to learn from, we have the developed world to learn from. So they had no one to learn from. The Western world, what we would
Well,
call the first world.
I disagree. Oh, just go on, go
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Finish.
Because if you look at the science and technology that we're enjoying today, it's all as a result of the world wars that have occurred, and we know the psychological impact of world war desperation, and then lots of investment go into things like science and technology. Most of the things that we benefit, telecommunications, the automobile industry, name it, it's all most of those innovations came out these wars. So we have a lot to learn from them in sense that they've gone before us. So if it took America to get to where it is, about over 250 years to get where it is now, with an established template and maybe probably tweaking that template to suit our local context, we should be able to accomplish that in 100 years. I'm not I'm not an African who believes in sudden change, because I believe if it's sudden, then trust me, some people have been omitted, some voices have not been heard.
Mm.
Um, you can't just jumpstart development. It's a gradual process, and the only way it's sustainable is if it's inclusive. And the only way it's inclusive is if we put enough systems in place to ensure that everyone is speaking and everyone is heard. So that being said, I think the only way, not the only way, one major, and which is what makes our work important. That's why we wake up every day at Salt House, is because we believe that inclusion is pivotal to Africa's sustainable development. And until we start having those conversations about the different ways in which people are being marginalized and what systems we need to put in place to ensure that they are heard and their needs are addressed, if not provided for, but addressed, acknowledged, we may not be able to have the development that we desire on the
Wow.
continent.
Okay. You guys have taken this discussion from two different angles. Okay, but I like that. Okay, so let me first address what Mika said. Okay, now I don't disagree with anything you said, but I think we need to look at this leadership. See, one mistake we make, we think that a person in position is a leader. See, let's look at it. For someone to get to position, they must be first a leader. And then we raise them into position. See, we right now, we elect people who have not shown leadership. Okay, and we expect them to get to office and now display leadership. How can they? You see, when you talk about young people contesting for presidency, okay, I wouldn't stop them, but if in their personal lives, in their small businesses, in their local community, they have been displaying leadership in various areas. Okay. See, when someone has displayed the potentials as a leader, I don't think that people who know them will say, no, he should not contest for political office because he's young. If at 20, you have displayed the potential as a leader, you have helped so many people in your community, why would those people want to stop you from, yeah. So David, what do you want to say? You want to say something about this?
Yeah, I want to, and I think it's arguable.
Okay.
So it's arguable, and the reason why I'd say it's arguable, if you want to take into consideration, I'm sure you know about Papa Doc. That's the former president of Haiti.
Mm.
I keep forgetting. I remember him as Papa Doc. Papa Doc played a huge role in Haiti's healthcare sector before he became president, but
Yeah.
he actually went down as one of the most ferocious dictators
Yeah.
in the history of nationalism. And I think the perception that we have about leadership, it's not, maybe it's not what it is, because we always expect that we affiliate morals with leadership. But you know uh, I'm sorry, I'll just have to bring it back to my. So I had a conversation. We have what we call the inclusion dialogue every Friday. You should actually join in on Clubhouse at South House Africa, right?
Okay.
And yeah, and we address some of these issues around inclusion and marginalization or whatever. And I asked the question. Everyone during the Nigerian presidential election, everyone was clamoring for Peter Obi to win, like most people were. But
A lot of
most
young people
a
did.
lot of
Okay.
young people did. And I asked the question that if you found out tomorrow that Peter Obi as a woman somewhere who's got children for him that he never got married to, some of these things are against our social norms in Africa, would you still give him your vote? And most people said no. Why would they? Like, oh, that means I'm like, well, that's the problem. You see, we always affiliate morals to leadership. The fact that he's got a wife somewhere doesn't necessarily mean that he's unable to deliver on the promises that he has made to Nigerians, does it? It doesn't. And that's one of the major issues that we have. So the reason why I decided to come in, and that is because we always expect that it's logical.
Yeah.
If you want to appoint a leader, you appoint someone who has a track record of service, someone who has a track record of putting people first. However, it's not sufficient enough.
Okay.
Yeah, it's never sufficient enough. I think what's more important than the person's track record is, or the person's past, is more about where the person's future, where you're taking us to. And that's why one important question we have at Salt out when we hire is we find out, like, what's the future? What's if you were to be the CEO of our organization, the director of our organization, where would you take us to? Because people can, in their CVs, you get to see what people have done in the past, but
Yeah.
you don't hire people because of their past. You
Okay.
don't work with people because of their past, because of their future. So leadership in Africa
Very good. Very good.
should be forward oriented, not.
Okay. So that's true. But where I was going to is that, so young people should not aspire to the highest office. There are so many other offices. Okay. See, we want young people to be presidents. How about councillors? How about chairmanship of local government offices? Okay, where they can display their political leadership at small scales. Okay, and then maybe in 5-10 years they can aspire to presidency. But what my point is that we need to display leadership across the board, not just until I get to the top, I won't show leadership.
Yeah.
We need to show leadership in our personal life, in a small community. Okay. And then, we need leaders in every space. So there are so many opportunities for young Africans to display leadership, apart from even political offices. There are so many other places. Right now, two of you are displaying leadership.
It's debatable, though.
Well,
for me, I'm just
see, if you guys haven't done this, your organizations will not be existing. Right now. You have the organizations you have because you have taken initiative to say, I see this problem and I want to solve it. Right? That's true. Mika, any word from you?
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. I think, in African politics, for so long, politics has been leading Africa, our countries. It feels like it's the main thing, beyond anything, like beyond it being a doctor or being a teacher, being a police or, other jobs. That's why these days, the easiest way of making money is by becoming
politics. Yeah.
And that's a pretty bad job that has been done by, our people before. But changing that mentality. And I think that's why you see a lot of people who are successful are politicians. But, in our countries, a lot of doctors, some of them, they demonstrate, they don't want to go to work because of the payment. Teachers, for example, in my country, teachers are people who fail. Like if you fail, you go and you start to become a teacher.
Exactly. And that's wrong.
Yeah, it's very wrong. But because we don't really pay attention to them, and we don't really prioritize what is the most important thing for us. Education it has to be the most important thing. All right. Health, it must be the most important thing. Politics is something that later on, but everything about leadership right now, it's politics, and which is taking everything away from us. So what you said, I think, and a lot of young people, most of them, brother, I'll tell you, most of them, they don't want to be in politics. They hate. No. When you talk about politics, they hate it. We don't want to be this. When you talk about leading the country or being a leader somewhere, they hate it. I would rather just do my business and live my comfortable life than, risking my life being a leader of like countries or whatever. So I think what you said is really important, that leadership, you don't even need to be, for me, I believe you don't need to be in a position to be a leader. You are a leader already of your own life. So how are you guiding and leading your life? And then you have family, you have brothers, sisters, you have friends. How you portray yourself, right? You are in the company or you have your own organization. How do you lead those people that are below you? I think this is how we, prepare this chain of, good society that we need. And I'm, we need to try our best to do that, whatever we are,
Yeah, very, very good. Now, coming to David's point about that we have a lot of learning to do. Yes, we do. And like you said, we are fortunate. See, I've said this on my podcast. We are fortunate to be at the back, okay? Because we can learn from the people in front, okay? Now, David said the West didn't have that opportunity. No, that's when I say I disagree, because they did, okay? They learned from the ones in front of them at that time, okay? Now, has the West exploded the progress? Yes, okay? But the starting point from there for them was from the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Islamic civilization.
Yeah.
Okay. See, because science during the 8th to 12th century was the Islamic civilization in Baghdad. A lot of work they did. And the Europeans took all the books from that, and then they used it to to progress science. Okay. Now, I was going to mention something. You said something about
while you try to recall, can I just
go on.
Interject? And I love the fact that you've been able to mention some of these, real facts about them having someone to look up to.
Yes,
definitely they learned from the old Ottoman Empire. Yeah. And
Yeah,
all of that.
Ottoman Empire.
Yeah.
Before the Ottomans, the
No,
the
certainly,
yeah,
certainly. Yeah,
yeah,
certainly. But what I was just trying to say was this. Um, they learned at the time of conflict.
yeah.
They
Oh
learned
yeah, oh yeah,
it was the whole transformation was not as a result of a desire to develop. It was as a result of a desire to survive.
yeah,
And that's I think that's different for us about Africa at this point. Although we've got social conflicts happening in different parts of Africa, like look at what's happening in Sudan currently,
yeah,
what's happening in Ethiopia. But nonetheless, we actually at a state where we are not influenced by by conflict to drive development. We've got more countries who operate a free market capitalism on the continent,
mm,
where anyone can start up a business, put a price on their products and services, and then they'll sell without the influence of the government. Now that is not an opportunity that most of the they have to fight their way through that. They have to
yeah,
fight their way against communism. They have to fight their way against socialism and all of that. But we don't have to go through that. That's basically the point I was trying to make.
yeah,
So I feel that like for us now, it's the world is getting open. Everyone is taking sides. Well, some are with the West, some are with the East. That's the sort of the communists and all of that. But at the same time, like we can say for a fact that global trade has played a huge role in opening opportunities for everyone. I'm here in the UK. I can easily choose to patronize a small scale, of fashion entrepreneur in
yeah,
Zanzibar, right?
yeah.
And I get my goods over to me. And that's actually those are some of the opportunities that are available for us. So it's our ability to harness some of these new opportunities in a way that not in a conflict driven way, but in a sane state such that we're able to, scale up. We don't have to lose out on the law.
Good. Now, what I was good to mention, economics. You mentioned economics. See, and that's why I mentioned that people need to read economics,
Mm,
because a lot of young people I talk to do not understand globalization,
mm,
do not understand that what drives the majority of actions of human beings
mm-hmm,
is economics.
mm-hmm,
Okay. And without understanding all these things, you don't need to be an economist, but you need to be inquisitive to know things. Okay. History, economics, to understand why did this happen. Okay. Yes, you mentioned that Europe developed under pressure of conflict. Okay. And that's how the civilizations have developed up to now. Now, we cannot afford to do that because the weapons of war right now are devastating. So we must not go that route. We can, rather than go in that conflict zone, we can look at what has these people done, what do we want to copy, and copy them. Right now, I hear a lot of young Africans. In fact, I might say the majority of those I see online hate anything capitalism. Okay, they hate globalization.
That's debatable as well.
Okay. So my point is this. For me, I try to understand why they do that. Okay. And what I've found is that most of them do not understand how things work. See, I I used everyday food we eat in Nigeria as an example with a young lady. Do you know that majority of the food we eat today in Nigeria, and we think they are our food, our local, whatever. But most of the plants were brought by our colonial masters. Mention most banana, plantain are not African. Yam is ours. Cassava is not African. Maize, corn wasn't African. They came. They were brought by the British. Okay. So my point is this: we need to read, because once we read things, we understand those things, our animosity towards anyone will decrease. Because for me, I do this. I talk about Africa a lot, but my goal, my ultimate goal, is for humanity. We can learn a lot of things from other people. And the only way we can learn from other people is to see things the way they are. Right now, Africa, we have a lot of conflict between tribes, and outside Africa with other people we think have done us wrong. Yeah. So what do you have a point? Do you have a comment on that?
So I think I'm going to hand over to Mika first.
Mika?
Well, me and you, we had this conversation last time.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I might be jumping off soon because my friend is almost here.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's a fact. First of all, I think I would say the same thing that I said last time, my brother. That it's a fact. It's true that there are people who done very wrong to Africa.
Yes.
Even at this very moment is still happening. But of course, we both agreed last time that we cannot dwell on that and victimizing ourselves. That mindset is not helping us to move forward. It's not helping us to change and transform. So we should take that. That should be like a triggering point for us to work hard, to invest more, and even to learn from Indians. The reason why right now Indians, they're leading all over the world. They are top CEOs in most of the companies in the US, right? He's running UK right now, and another one is about to run US. The reason why it's because they invested in technology. Technology is what can transform Africa 100%. Technology. If we focus on the STEM and we try to impose and teach our kids from the very early stage technology, I think that's what it's going to help Africa to be a superpower nation as soon as possible, because that's where the world is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always believe that. And I think there's a need for us for our governments and even individual private sectors to really invest in that side of in our continent to prepare ourselves for the future.
Okay. David.
Yeah. So I think to add to what my brother has said, Mika, we need to move forward. We need to let go of the grudges of our colonial past. Yeah, we need to move forward. And I think I would also need to mention that there are amazing Africans who are doing great things as well around the world, as you would agree with me. And I want to believe that the reason why some of these Africans are doing great is simply because we've been able to let go of our past. So for someone like me, I actually live in the UK, I work in the UK. Um, I do quite a lot in the UK. Well, they do actually are colonial masters. So if I actually hold on the grudge of racism and always expecting that every slight response, or every response, unwanted response, is an act of microaggression, then probably I will not advance in my career. I would not advance in what my offering to the world. So, like, I think Mika has said it all. Mika said it all. And also we need, like you said, we need to prioritize technology.
Yeah.
And India has played, and they've actually created a very good roadmap. Because if you're talking about the US, we're talking about China, maybe that's a bit far-fetched. But India, we know India just about two decades ago, India, the GDP capital was way less than what it is in Africa today. But they've been able to invest a lot in making that shift from an agrarian society, focusing on science and technology, investing a lot in the education now system, building more engineering schools, investing a
Yeah.
lot in engineering projects and all of that. And their people have gone out of the country, and you'll find out that these top CEOs that we're talking about, they their foundational education was not
Was
in
in
the
Ghana, in India.
in
Yeah.
India.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most remarkable thing about it. It's different from people who travel to the US and they add education. You say, yes, they actually were educated. But these people learn the morals, the basic, the STEM from India, and not
India.
until probably their master's program, or
Masters. Yeah.
they left and that's it. Rishi Sunak was not born in the UK.
One more interesting thing is that even most of the engineers that are working for Twitter, they are
Mhm.
actually Indians for
Indians. Yeah.
India. Like they're working from India, but they're working for Twitter.
For Twitter.
So
So
how does that do to the country and
yeah,
economy of
yeah.
Mm.
So I think that's what we have organizations such as Andela that tries to promote, exports our tech talent. And I think the best way for us to do it is if we're able to create like an habitable environment for our young people, they would stay back. They will choose to work from Africa.
Yeah.
So what you find out currently is most talented persons in Africa want to leave the continent. They're not willing to work in the continent. So if I'm a web developer or web engineer, or whatever that may be, um, I would prefer to be in the UK and work for a British company, or work for a company and anywhere rather than working from Africa. And that's when you look at other issues around insecurity, police, abuse by the police force, and all of those things. So yeah, I think that's about it. We have the potential, obviously, and I would keep saying this. I would keep saying this. The greatest resource that we've got on the continent, it's not the gold, it's not the diamond, it's not the oil, it's not the coltan, the cobalt, it's not the iron ore, it's the people. And the moment we if we are oblivious of that fact, we would always get it wrong. We would always get it wrong. And
David, I agree with you absolutely.
yeah, I'm looking at a continent of over 1.2 billion to over 1.2 billion. Look, the literacy rate has gone up in the past decade. We have more people who can read and write. Um, but I think we've not done a lot in terms of decolonizing our educational curriculum, if that makes sense. We cannot talk about this without mentioning the amazing work of Julius Nyerere in Tanzania. The first thing he did as prime minister was to decolonize the educational system, and to let go of the colonial language, let go and just build an original and authentic nation. And that's why Tanzania happens to be one of the most peaceful nations on the continent, despite all that happened around the continent, the neighboring
Yeah.
nations experience relative peace. And yeah, I think that's what we need to do. So it's so good to meet people like Mika who are doing amazing things, and quite thousands of other young leaders out there who are changing the landscape, who are proving that wait a minute, I don't work for an oil company, but I can actually change the narrative of my local community, even if it's one person that gets that whose life is transformed. So again, I don't believe in sudden change, but I believe that if we have like 1,000 makers, and maybe maybe you need more myself because I'm as smart as Mika, obviously. But but
We got some debits as well, man.
you know, if we have a thousand of Mika, we could actually transform the world. We could transform the continent, and we could actually prove to the world that we are not, we don't want to be victims. Recently in Salt House, we made a drastic change in our organization. We've been existing for about 5 years, and this year we said we were not going to lead the not-for-profit model of operation anymore. We were going to be a for-profit organization driving
Oh,
change. And if you notice, I know you try to keep up with what I do. So we've been
yeah, yeah,
recruiting massively lately, and the reason why we've been investing a lot of resources into that is because I think the only way we can drive development is not by being a victim of circumstance, of going to investor donors and saying, oh, we have hungry children. No, it's
exactly.
it's rather asking for investment, saying, I was in South Africa sometime in November, and we visited one of the shacks. So if you've been in South Africa, you notice that they live
Hmm.
in shacks, like
Yeah.
parks there.
Hmm.
And we visited one of the shacks, and we noticed that there was a poultry farm there, small scale, small size poultry farm. And I was like, two sets of people would come. One person would come and say, oh, you're suffering, I'm going to give you $10,000. That probably gets embezzled. Another person would come and say, oh, you've got a poultry here, how about I give you $10,000 so you can scale your
Scale
production?
it. Yeah. Hmm.
Now, which do you think will be more sustainable? In Africa, in the last 10 years, we've got that's just for in the not-for-profit sector, over $21 billion in terms
Yeah.
of in grants.
And
Nothing.
nothing should
How
show for
much
it.
does it
Yeah.
take to eradicate poverty from Africa? How much does it take? So if we had invested that in terms of, like, invested that in small scale businesses and medium sized businesses, probably we would have been able to record some further, like maybe more. We would have been able to advance the economy,
Yeah.
faster than it is currently. And so just to wrap up my point, I think that definitely we need to play a huge role in terms of science and technology. We need to make the continent habitable for our young people such that they have a voice. Even I love the fact that you said aiming for the presidency maybe too unrealistic in quote, but maybe if we're able to take the councillorship, you find out that we have more people in these offices, and you get to understand more of politics and how it works, and government. And yeah, Mika said an amazing point. Often we affiliate leadership with politics, but that should
Yeah.
not be the case. That should not be the case. All right.
Shouldn't.
So if we're able to do some of this, I know it's not a magic wand, but I'm sure gradually we'll be able to reconcile. I'm a living testimony of that. Mika
Yeah.
is a living testimony of that, and so are thousands of other amazing Africans out there that are doing great things, not just within the continent, but outside of the continent,
Yeah.
which is remarkable. So yeah, that's about it for
Wonderful.
me.
Wonderful. So see, I know Mika is going to have a guest soon, and
And I apologize for coming in late. I'm sure I
yeah,
must have delayed the conversation. It's an amazing conversation. I believe that we should. I'm definitely going to reach out to him. It's a conversation I think we should always
good,
have.
good.
Yeah.
See, that's what I want. See, I want young people to reach out. We need to continue these conversations.
Yeah.
Okay. See, one thing we don't do is have conversations. And I'll tell you, conversations are the bedrock of development.
Yeah.
If you don't discuss,
Yeah.
you can't iron out differences.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. That's true.
See, we must talk
Yeah.
about any and everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Any and everything.
I think only then do we get to show our prowess, that we
Yeah.
understand what's going on.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
Exactly.
So I'm so sorry. I was prying, but I actually went through Mika's social media page on LinkedIn, and I saw he met with the president of Zanzibar, and which is quite amazing. And I'm sure, like, there's this part of the Bible. I'm not sure if you're Christian, but like in the
Yeah.
Bible, you are. Okay, great. So in the Bible, there's this part of the Bible that says that the gift of a man maketh him stand before
Oh
kings.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would like to take it a step further. What the question is, what do you say to the king?
Me. What do I say
No,
to the
no,
No.
that's the question. Like, it's
Yeah.
not just stand before the
So
king.
so so
What do you
tell
say?
us. You met the king. The king King
yeah.
Charles III recently.
Oh,
So
Lord.
what did you say to the king?
Okay, so simply what I said is migrants are not the problem.
Yeah.
And usually there's this perception that, migrants are in the UK and in other developed part of the world are the problem, they are
Yeah.
scoffing scarce resources. But you've come up with policies that inhibit people, that create some form of, divide, inequality in society where people who are migrants don't have access to, basic infrastructures and
Mm,
benefits simply because they are taxpayers' money in quote. But these are people who have left their homes with the hope of contributing to your economy, expanding your economy. So that was what I said.
okay,
Yeah, and the truth about it is just to wrap up. Yeah, the truth about it is it's it's until we start having these conversations that our leaders will know that we are informed.
exactly.
If all that we do is just talk about the razzmatazz and all the unnecessary noise going on in the world, and in entertainment is good, but at times we as young people we get distracted. If we don't start having these conversations and letting them know that, oh, we know what's going on, we understand what budgetary allocations mean, we understand how money is being spent, we understand some of this. You meet an average Nigerian and you talk to the person, an average African talk to the person about treasury bills, and they have no understanding what that means. They don't understand
Exactly.
how the governments raise bonds and keep them in bondage, financial bondage in the future, simply because they're unable to pay back those bonds. They don't understand it, but the more we speak up about what we know, we let them understand that, oh, the people are aware. We have to start making more informed decisions. We can't just decide, and expect that they accept it. So
See, I'll tell you, the Enlightenment, without the Enlightenment, the world we live in today would not exist.
yeah.
And what was the Enlightenment? People express ideas of every kind.
America.
And the economics of today came out from it.
Mm-hmm.
The science of today came out from it. So many things. The way democracy of today came out from it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The forefathers, founding fathers of US were consuming the papers of the Enlightenment philosophers. Okay, so a lot of things come out from discussing ideas, debating ideas, and that's one thing we need to do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Certainly.
to write books and read books, and that's a big deficiency of our people. We don't write books, we don't read books. Because all the ideas, no one can have all the ideas.
Yeah.
But you can read a lot of different ideas written in books.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's why every time I talk to people, I recommend reading. And unfortunately, some people think I'm just showing off. I'm not. See, I will tell you, I have difficulty. I don't read physical books. Okay.
Does that mean that when I visit, I can take all the books in the background?
No. See, I have all these books because I want my daughters to know these books are precious to me. So even if I'm not here and they want to start reading, they will start from these books.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
So see, all these things we've discussed are important, and I think we have made a little headway. Okay.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll continue these discussions, and as people listen and decide to have their stake, okay, plant their stake on the ground, because without people taking decisions to involve themselves in this struggle of development, we need everybody to be involved.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mika. So, closing words before you go.
Well, first of all, I want to appreciate for having me here again. And I'm glad that I met David, Eric, Ownmi here. I'll definitely I share with you my WhatsApp number on LinkedIn. I'll definitely
I will share both of numbers. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be great. That'll be great.
I'd love to have more conversation and to learn more from you and what you know and what you've been doing.
Trust me, you may be disappointed. I don't know a lot.
I love what you guys are doing. I love what my brother Ekene is doing. That all this knowledge and all these things that you do have to just to pour out to our people.
Yeah.
And I think that's an amazing heart, an amazing heart. So I'm always glad to be here, because apart from just sharing what I know, but I also listen and I learn. And I know now, okay, what am I going to do now from here? So thanks for the challenge, Mr. Ekene, and for bringing us together. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Right.
David, closing words?
I guess I'll just say copy and paste. But yeah, thank you so much. I think Mika said it all. It's always good to have these conversations and to share what we know, and then learn, and then go back and implement in our various works, and also most importantly collaborate. I really applaud you for bringing Africans with same mindset, with same mindset for change, together. And because I always tell people, if you can do it alone, then you should rethink, because it's not worth it. Obviously, we can only accomplish this by working together. And I'm really excited I met with him, because I'm planning a trip to Tanzania.
Oh, okay.
In October. Yeah. And
now you got me right here, my brother. I'm here.
So definitely. So it'll be great to meet you in person later this year.
Good.
Yeah, it'll be great to meet you in person.
Welcome home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for being great guests again, because you have been here before. The Think Big for Africa podcast. All right. Take care, guys.
Privilege. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.